Round one, fight. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sports Report Fight Night Edition. We got everybody in the building. First, we got Josie with us. Josie, what's up?
Doing great. I am so pumped. There's so much to fucking talk about tonight.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And next, it's my pleasure to bring my man in, Mr. Pinfall himself, and still the most heavyweight champion of the world. Yeah, we talking about Mr. Pinfall, my man Gene Emerson. What's up, buddy? Oh, he's muted.
Why can we not hear him? Why can we not hear him?
Oh no, hold on, no. Is he muted?
He shouldn't be muted. He's not showing muted.
Nope.
Why are we not hearing him?
I don't know.
Gene, I'm kicking you out. Come back in.
Come back in. Because it's showing you muted.
All right.
How you doing, Joy?
Well, welcome. Like you said, welcome to Sports Report Fight Night. We are here to talk about all things wrestling, UFC, and everything in between.
I'm back. Sorry.
There you go.
There we go.
She gives me joy.
And we have to start tonight with nothing else, but it is 24 years of one of the greatest matches of all time. Foley versus Taker. Foley takes one of the first ever dive bombs off the top of the cage.
Yep.
Wasn't that the title match too? Was that the match where they said that he's about to win the title and everybody switched? Is that the match that changed the Monday Night Wars?
No. The match that changed the Monday Night Wars is later, but this is what after Vince sees this match and what Foley is willing to do, this is what gives him
his run.
The idea or the sort of the okay, we can put the strap on Foley at some point and it will be okay. For what Foley does in this match. But yeah, he gave his body for us as entertainment.
Yes.
Back in the Attitude Era. This is the one where we hear the proverbial words of one Jim Ross. Oh my God, he's broken in half. I think he's dead.
Broken in half.
God is my witness. He is broken in half.
And then they prefer to get the stretcher. Then he comes back out. As he said when he went through the cell the second time, when he went through and the tooth, that he almost got knocked unconscious. The only thing he remembers was when he got back over is seeing Terry Funk's shoes, and he goes, "How in the hell did these shoes get here?" That was And Taker, to his credit, went in with a broken foot into that match.
I mean,
and shout out to Steve Regal. And shout out to Steven Regal, because Steven Regal said, and he said it today in a report that I saw, Undertaker was the best person to sell.
Yeah.
Ever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the best seller.
But
ever.
to both of those, we can now say 2 Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
And in the top 10, I'm going to stop saying top 5 because it's almost impossible to not nail the top 5 greatest wrestlers of all time.
How can I put this? The wrestling, they want to talk about a Mount Rushmore. I don't think that there's any more Mount Rushmore.
KW, what's up, KW?
It's just a gigantic mountain with faces.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
And it would need to be like Everest.
Yeah,
carved out. But 2 men that are definitely in the top 10, no question, no questions asked. And to go down with one of the greatest matches of all time, what made the cage match as relevant as it is today, and why people have such problems with the way that WWE uses matches like that, is because, like Blood and Guts coming up this week, it's meant to be to settle a score. It's meant to be to really put the nail on a story arc.
We look at the cage, and I'm not talking cell. I'm going to talk cage. We're looking at cage matches. The cage match back in the day was meant to settle a rivalry. I was just
talking gimmick those type of gimmick matches in general.
Yeah, it was the end of. It was how to end a feud. There was nothing else they could do, so they did this. and they yet we're not going to go to at this point. You got to remember there was no dog collar matches yet,
Nope.
and those were very few and far between. And no, I mean, you had your pick. It was either like, hey, we're going to get you to do a hardcore match, this cell match, or no, this cage match, or a dog collar match. Most people were like, yeah, I'll take the cage match there, but it was always remembered as there was no going over the top and trying to exit. It was win by pinfall or submission. The escape thing came later.
Yep.
And I think it was more for the heels to make them look more cowardly, give them that push over, like, oh, he's a heel, yeah, he's trying to escape, blah blah blah. This feud's not settled, but it sort of got settled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was later on. That's later on. Most times when you saw a cage match, it was like these two guys, two big Haas guys, like a Bruiser Brody and a Stan Hansen. They were in the cage. It was blood
on.
guts.
Yeah.
It was on. One guy's walking in, or two guys walk in, one guy's walking out. That was how it always ended.
Yep.
So as it progresses, yeah. So we get what we get today.
We definitely have to pay tribute to that match because it is one of the greatest of all time. Real quick, I do want to mention Dana Brooke in a bad car accident, as it's being quoted. But it sounds like she was not seriously injured, so she'll be back in no time.
Good.
That's good.
What we need to talk about is Rhea Ripley, because from what I understand, she's got a traumatic brain injury.
Yeah, I'm hearing she may never wrestle again. I don't want to talk about that one because there's so little news on that. We know very little. Like what we said is about all that's out there.
Is all we know.
And here again, I when you were talking about what people said, even when you're talking about wrestlers, what they said, take it with a grain of salt, because sometimes it's a work. Sometimes they
just never know anymore.
Never know anymore. Never know nowadays. That's true.
Especially the links they have to go through to make kayfabe like real and believable now.
Yeah, to give them that sense that they still have some privacy for themselves. Yeah.
All right. We're gonna come back. There's like a lot of what I want to discuss is gonna either lead up to Forbidden Door, or talk about Forbidden Door, or go into Blood and Guts, which has implications from
Forbidden Door.
So I'm going to try and get through what's not Forbidden Door related before we go into that. So last night, 20 years of hustle, loyalty, and respect.
Guys, I'll be right back. I gotta go grab some. I'll be right back.
John Cena has been around for 20 motherfucking years. This makes me feel so goddamn old because I remember his match with Kurt Angle. I actually follow a girl on TikTok that said she's only been watching wrestling since 2013, so now she's going to go back and watch some of his greatest matches. And I went and said, like, you have to watch his first match with Kurt Angle. Like, he set the tone for his entire career in that match.
Okay. Dating here, I am now, by the end of this year, I'll be 35. I've watched John Cena come up. I'm
the same way. I'm right there with you.
The OVW days.
I did not watch OVW.
Yeah, him being the
prototype.
You know what I mean? So stuff like that. Like, don't get me wrong. I read. How do I put it? At one point, I was a John Cena fan. But when you start looking at the comparisons after so long and find out, I'm not going to dredge on the person. He's got 20 years. I respect what he's done. But at the same time, it's another. It's our it's this generation's proverbial Hulk Hogan.
He had to go get the TNT title.
Since we're gonna be talking AEW,
he wasn't even. You want to talk travesty? He wasn't even on. Well, he's injured actually, so I can't say that. It sucks that Scorpio couldn't be on.
Yeah.
All right. So to go along with 20 years of hustle, loyalty, respect, as WWE, one of the best things WWE does is video packages to pay tribute. They do that very well, always have. Even if you can go back and find the video package they did for Benoit before they found out everything. Which, by the way, before I look like an asshole, it's not actually till the 3rd, right?
Well, it got celebrated today at my job because it was the only day that all four of us was together.
I hadn't said it, but I was also like, I don't think it's yet.
Yeah, it's Sunday. Like I say, people on my job giving me the party
and
today.
I talk to you almost daily, so
yeah. It's the only day that all my coworkers were together, so that's what we celebrated today.
Okay.
I mean,
it makes
birthdays
sense.
birthdays in my family last minimum of a week.
Oh
minimum,
yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Just like the Rocks. That's right, baby. Just like the Rocks.
But
hell yeah.
So one of the things that's coming off of this is they got AEW stars to record some tributes to them. These are guys like Jericho, Big Show. There was one other that it's not coming to me now. Oh,
Bryan Danielson.
D-Bry, which I mean, for a long time they were basically in-laws.
Yeah.
And so it was really cool from what I've read and heard. They reached out to Tony. Tony agreed to all of it. I've already heard from the trolls of the wrestling world. Oh man, Jericho knows that it's coming to an end. He's keeping a toe there, and Brian no-showed Forbidden Door so he could be at Raw. And I was like, shut the fuck up! Like Tony's one big agenda, I feel like, is to change the wrestling world, to make it where companies are willing to work together, to make it where wrestlers can get insurance. They aren't, I mean, AEW wrestlers for a show that's on TV work the least amount of time to most wrestlers.
Yeah. Yep. That's true.
At the same time, people are going to talk because people are going to talk and they want to create news. Hey,
like we were saying before
and all these things, people don't make,
like we were saying before the show, there's always going to be people that shit on AEW. There's always going to be people that shit on WWE. What you need to realize is there is a ton of pro wrestling companies.
Yeah.
There is only one sports entertainment company.
Yep.
And that's what makes the JAS such an amazing faction. But anyway, I just wanted to cover those things. Next on the list,
the old Vince
Judgment Day jobbing out on main event. Is this the end? Are they already done? Was the Cody Rhodes tidal wave of injury making Edge switch to babyface actually going to kill the Judgment Day before they even had a chance to have a run?
I never understood why they did. I get it because they were taking Judgment Day to a place that he didn't want to go.
Well, it wasn't
so
just that. They need a top baby face, and without Cody,
you had to put him in there.
The best one to make that switch.
Yeah. But
also too, and I'm looking at this with Judgment Day. I think Edge could have pulled off the whole spooky, phenomenal thing and added that to his repertoire. The reason I say this now, and I know there's going to be people out here going to troll me, but whatever. He was in Brood. He started off in a creepy, vampiric.
I think he didn't want to do that again.
And he was connected to The Undertaker.
Yeah, he was.
Through that later on, through the corporate ministry. So I think Edge at some point just is like, hey, I will accept what I can, but at this point it was just getting too much for him. And I think he was feeling like Undertaker had just retired and they're pulling off a bunch of Undertaker-esque stuff. I can understand where Edge is coming from. It's like, it's a little too soon, guys. Just a little too soon.
In WWE's defense, minus Edge, all three of those guys scream darkness.
Oh yeah, I'm not debating that. Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest, Finn Balor couldn't pull it off. I'm not stating that they couldn't.
That's what I'm saying. I see why they would want to take it in that direction.
Yeah, and I can see that.
It's a bit weird.
I think you need something like that in the WWE where there's no Undertaker. But here's the problem. You could have had that if you didn't release Bray Wyatt and you didn't through the story.
We're gonna that I forgot to put that on the list, but we're gonna talk about that too tonight.
Yeah, but
as we get into blood and guts.
I'm just saying you could have had that if you didn't go that way.
Yep.
But do you know what I mean? Can Finn Balor and those guys carry it? They could. Are they going to become? At this point, I think it's bound to go that way, just because you pulled Edge, who was given it some credibility. He had great promo. Damien's not there on a promo yet. Same with Rhea. Finn can cut a
not
good
bad.
promo.
He's
Finn can
aight.
cut a promo when he needs to once in a while, but Edge has got that ability to draw you in. And with Cody being out, yeah, you're going to need a new baby face. It is what it is.
All right. Next on the docket, the saga that is Vincent Kennedy McMahon. It came out this week. The first female rest is saying that he raped her, and it was covered up. This would have been in the time that he was already in a lot of lawsuits for sexual misconduct.
Yep.
He was also going through his case with Hogan.
Yep.
I think, and then also the other point I wanted to bring up, the person I feel like is not getting a lot of attention on this is John Laurinaitis, who had his company's cell phone shut off this week. And I find this hilarious because of who I know who John Laurinaitis is married to.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, it is the Bella Twins' mom.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's their stepdaddy.
Yeah. So this whole thing, I'm just at a point. I don't see Vince stepping down, maybe, whatever.
But he stepped down, but he's still at the show every week because he's a creative control.
Yeah, you're going to still have Vince there. Stephanie might run things, but Vince is still. It's always going to be that way.
Yep.
Even when they were attacking Vince Sr., still showed up to the shows.
Sure did.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say.
It's a businessman's mentality.
Until Vince Sr. was in the grave, there was no stopping him. And until Vince Jr. is in the grave,
ain't gonna be no stopping him.
Do you blame him?
Unless I'm right, which I still believe I am, and they're going to sell this goddamn company very soon.
But still, he's still going to be there. It's still taking.
I mean, if they sell like I think they're going to sell, he won't. Especially now, where he's no longer the CEO. If they sell, they could remove him from creative. They couldn't remove him from the board, but they can remove him from creative with no problem. He's just a regular employee. That's the one thing. If they sell, at that point, he's just a regular employee. He has no power anymore.
I can't see it happening. So, anyways.
All right. Next on the thing, Sami Callihan returned to the ring after 8 months and a broken ankle. Slammiversary. He returned to Impact about, I think, a couple of weeks prior.
Good to see him back.
Moose.
I was really happy to see this. He's also returned in the MLW. He's one of the guys I've been wanting to see in AEW since the very fucking beginning.
Okay. To be honest with you, I think he fits Impact and MLW.
I agree.
A lot better than you don't take him to a major company.
I agree. But as we're going to talk here in a second, when we get into the talk of Forbidden Door 2, both of those companies you just mentioned, I would love to see in a Forbidden Door with AEW. And we're going to talk about that here in a little bit.
But
real quick, before you move on, I just want to say one thing. Before you guys move on, I just want to say one thing. Shout out to Jordan Grace.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
She became the Knockouts champion.
Mm-hmm. For the second time.
Mm-hmm. And didn't she already have now lost it? Because I've seen her tie of out.
I saw that too.
Yes, she did.
4 belts.
Yep.
It wasn't very long. And we're going to talk about Taya here in a minute because she has went on a roll.
But getting back to the Sammy thing, it's great to see him back. And I like how they picked up the story with him going after Moose. It fits perfectly.
Yep.
Everything came together at the right time. I've also heard at their Against All Odds something, whatever, Impact, that Raven is going to be there for the Monster Balls match.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
So it's been announced that Raven's going to be there live. I don't know if he's going to be there as commentator or special guest referee, but it's something to do. I hope it connects with Sami Callihan, Moose, the whole thing, because honestly, Raven playing into all that would be perfect. Moose went out and hired like Raven to, to take over, take down Sami Callihan. It would work.
A little bit of veer off from this, but I was also going to bring up America's Most Wanted reunited at Slammiversary.
Ray, what's up, brother? How you doing, man?
I'm loving the fact that America's Most Wanted is back together. It's especially that they're celebrating their 20 years. Like, America's Most Wanted is one of the greatest tag teams in Impact history.
Yeah.
And but is it shit? I lost my train of thought.
Are you thinking it's a work here with having Wildcat injured and he's
everything that they say is he can't be in the ring because Storm is protecting him. You've also got the Good Brothers involved.
Facts.
And
I'd like to see it be the Briscoe.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. With all this going on, is Impact putting out some of the best stories they put out in a long
because
time.
I think so.
Like if they were on a better network, they would easily be number 3.
They could, and I think here though the thing about Impact is what's great right now is they've had 20 years, so they can go back into their archives and grab some guys that weren't that relevant, bring them here, or guys that had a big impact at the time when they were TNA or whatever,
right? And
bring them in and fit them into stories right now because it works, and make your X division and make your tag team division and make your mid card level stuff look so good. So it takes some of the weight off the heavyweight champion. The heavyweight champion is still the main focus, but it makes, having all these different factions and what they're doing, it makes more sense. And it makes the stuff, because you got 20 years of, footage and shit that you can go through and people that you can pick from, it helps.
And that's why I say that, we'll say that I think Impact would be better for the next Open Door.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that because there's honestly, if Tony wanted to take it there out, there's so many. You could do so many of these with so many different companies.
NWA, Camille versus Jade. Let's go.
That would be amazing.
Let's go.
Here's the thing. If you before we talk about
that would make sense too.
If you're talking about a second Forbidden Door, because you got to look at this from the buy-in.
Hang on. Yeah. I want to talk about this Forbidden Door before we get into that too deeply.
But that makes sense though, because if Jay gets that loss, that's what she needs right now. She doesn't need all this. She needs a loss big time.
All right. So Forbidden Door recap. First off, success or bomb?
I say
$1 million to gate is what I'm hearing. Broke another AEW record. But it was the United Center. It's not a huge.
That's true.
It's not
that big.
Remember, AEW doesn't really do above. I think their biggest show was the one they did at Grand Slam, and I think that's 10,000.
Right.
So they don't do huge shows. So $1 million gate for them, pretty good. They did another record in buys on pay-per-view, which I gotta say is pretty impressive for the fact that they didn't have as much time between pay-per-views. And that's one of the reasons I buy AEW pay-per-views, is because usually I can register in my head $40 every 4 months isn't bad.
No.
Cheaper than WWE.
I couldn't really I was working 1, 2, I couldn't really register in my head $40 for a pay-per-view that it was very lightly tied to a lot of storylines. It wasn't super tied in. I just think for that one, maybe they charged $30. That's my only thought on that. I understand why they did it. I get it. I really do. But I just wish that, like, their big four, I understand. $40, $50 all day long. Make your big four $50. Any bonus pay-per-views, make them $10 less.
It's still cheaper than a WWE pay-per-view.
I mean, well, but now the WWE has Peacock. You can get it for $5.
That's true.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Forbidden Door from start to finish. Okay, you got that hour on YouTube, the buy-in. That is technically going to sell you either if you're going to, if you're last minute guy and you're totally didn't find out about it weeks in advance, but that hour long it gives you that itch. It gives you, do I want to buy this or do I not want to buy it?
As you say,
you know what I mean?
Buy-in.
So you got the buy-in.
Our first match was Aaron Solo versus QT Marshall, or Aaron Solo and QT Marshall versus Hiroku Goto and Yoshihashi.
Phenomenal match. And those guys, I'm not talking the factory, I'm talking Yoshi, and those guys are known even in New Japan.
Yep.
As guys that work, the early matches anyways. And they're known for putting on good matches to sell the pay-per-view so that you buy the pay-per-view. Right? So yeah, right from the buy-in, the first, hour or so, even the matches they had of what was it? Lance Archer and Nick Comoroto, the second match, and that was phenomenal. And it's two AEW guys, and there was complicated, and they even talked about that there was connection to the G1 Climax where Archer's still going to be in it as representing I'm trying to say it.
I can't say it either.
You know what I'm talking about. So I don't sound like I'm bad and ready.
Right.
Monaro's group. I'm not even going to try it. Anyways, but representing that part in the block, and they've now got it in this year's G1. It's 4 blocks.
Yep.
And it hasn't been like that for 20 years.
Wow, long while.
So they're coming back to 4 blocks, and they're calling the C block the big man block, and they're like, Carter could have easily fit into that big man block, but we have Lance Archer, and it did. It put those big guys that he's going to be facing on notice. You guys, there's guys like the General from the Bullet Club.
There you go.
You know what I mean? That's going to be there, and some of their bigger guys. Then you move on to the final match that was in there of the buy-in. Oh, I can't remember exactly what it was, the final match, but it was really, really good. It was really, really good. It played into.
Let me ask you this before Josie comes back. Do you think Moxley was the right guy? Was the right way to go?
No.
Okay.
I don't either.
Okay, so for me personally,
and I love Mox. Everybody knows I love Mox.
I love him too, but I don't think he was the right call.
Okay, for me personally, I agree with you guys. I don't feel Moxley was the right guy.
I wanted Punk versus Tanahashi.
Yes,
and I get that. I want to see the Ace versus CM Punk. I think we're still going to get that regardless sometime down the road. But as in story-wise, and for the group facing for the Blood and Guts and for the Blackpool Combat Club, this gives them legitimacy. Why their group is so vicious,
especially going in. Well, and then
especially going into Blood and Guts,
you can flip it now.
Yeah,
Jericho and Mox was such a great feud when he was going for Mox's title.
Yep.
Yeah,
Jericho's title.
Yep.
Now you can flip it. Jericho's going for Mox's title.
Carry
on the feud with the JAS for a while.
That's right. There's playoff here. Plus, also, and I can understand a little bit from Tony's perspective, keeping Hiromu Tanahashi on the schedule that he works in New Japan, plus the movies he does in Japan, and then have him as AEW champion. How much would you see the title really in?
But the rumor I heard was the point they were going to put it on Tanahashi to do exactly that. What I had heard is that Hangman Adam Page was going to win the New Japan world title. And then Tanahashi was going to win the AEW world title. And they were going to go across. It was going to be Page here having that and Tanahashi
over there
having the AEW championship until Punk was ready to come back. And then everything swaps back.
Yeah.
My thought there is that gives them some time, that takes the time. And I realize you don't want to have your world title off weekly television for very long.
No.
Tanahashi could depending on, we don't know how long Punk's going to be out.
Nope.
Because we don't know like the true nature of his injury.
Yeah, and also
you could probably get Tanahashi once, maybe twice a month.
That's right. And that's what I'm saying. Like you're looking at it from, you got to look at it from AEW's perspective here. It's like, you know, they still got to sell their merch. They still got to, you know what I mean? And Hiromu Tanahashi calling him the ace. Yeah, like us diehard fans, the supermarks that are in the AEW, don't get me wrong, there are supermarks in WWE, there are supermark fans in
everywhere
in AEW, there are supermark fans in every wrestling company.
MLW has supermarks.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
Yeah. So does NWA.
Yeah. So you got the supermark fans, and they're going to understand him. But you're trying to still sell, I hate to say this, but it's the truth. You're still trying to sell to that casual guy that's walking on the street who's never picked it up.
That's true.
Why, when you go to us, it goes, yes, we want Tanahashi, but to them, they go, Moxley's the better choice. Because
and I will say this, I do think for their first two-time champ, Moxley was the right choice.
Yes. Yeah.
I do think he was the right choice to be the first two-time champ.
And you've got this dip in fans, in believability in the AEW, because, you know, CM Punk is gone. Also, they didn't. I want to say we got tired of Hangman Page.
I know I did.
We didn't like him.
I did. I liked him at first, but
yeah, we just got tired of him.
Yeah.
And so there's this dip. Well, how do you bring it back? The Blackpool Combat Club is on the rise. Everybody likes William Regal. Everybody likes Bryan Danielson. Yuta's doing phenomenal now. They've got Cesaro over with them. It just works. They're on this high. Why not? Why not strap the rocket to the guy that's already going up?
It was like going up in the beginning.
Yeah. So it works. It just works. Now, as I was talking, the buy-in, that was great for Forbidden Door. It got you the tease you. It gets you selling you into it. And then when you get to the beginning, the very first match that kicks it off, JAS.
Did y'all talk about Swerve and Lee?
No.
Swerve and Lee, that tag team match, which is great with Suzuki Doom guys, which is great. And I know a lot of people are like, I hope Swerve and Keith are done. I would like to see them at least once run for the tag and actually go for the tag team titles. Whether they win it or not, I could care less. But you want them to go that before you break them up. Because
I don't know. I feel I was surprised they put them back together after Swerve screwed him in the
you gotta admit, okay, let's take this back for a minute. This was like WCW or WWE in the early days, and you had a Royal Rumble, and you put your tag teams in there. Didn't the other tag team guys, whether you were face or heel tag team, didn't you try to take out your opponent and your partner? Yeah. Was there ever a story built off of it? No. Back in the 80s, because it was like it's a multi-man match. You understand the rules when you get into it,
right?
And they're making it sound like they didn't understand the rule. Dude, let's play off of it. They did. Swerve was going to be Swerve regardless. We all know who Swerve is. Swerve is the anti-hero. He's going to take his advantage where he can.
Yep.
Do you blame him? No. Would you do it? Would I do it? Yeah, we would all do it. It's just, you know what I mean? Just common sense. Putting them back together is great because you want them to try to go for the tag team titles, whether they win it or not, and then you break them up because that's the perfect time. Whether it's Keith Lee gets mad at Swerve or Swerve gets mad at Keith Lee, which way you want to play it, it works out, and there's still more story you can build off of it.
Well,
the only thing I have about Forbidden Door, the Young Bucks lost.
Well, and one thing we haven't talked about is
the
fact that I don't think they were a good choice to be the first two-time AEW tag team champions. I understand why they did it. I think the Hardys were probably going to win it in that match.
Yep.
Honestly, and they had to scramble
to put something
because
together.
Of everything that happened. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they already knew like the Christian stuff was ready to go. Like that had been boiling for long enough. It needed to happen.
It needed to happen, and it works. And it works well. Having the Young Bucks 2-time because they play.
They do play the
arrogance so well. They play arrogance so well.
I just hate them.
But all right, the final match for the buy-in was Billy and Max Caster versus Alex Coughlin, the DKC, Kevin Knight, and Yu Amara taking on Max Caster, the Gun Club. But this
to me,
Billy Kids ditched, and it just ended up being Caster and Billy.
Yeah, and they still beat 4 guys. They beat the whole Young Lions.
Bleacher Report gives it a C. They said it was decent, but there was a few too many sloppy moments.
There was, and then I want to say this. Okay, so I love Danhausen, and yes, Danhausen brings out the new music that Daddy Gunn had for them, calling them the ass boys, and that was funny as hell. But at some point, and this is the truth, at some point, just go with the gimmick. At this point, everybody's bought into it. You can't keep calling yourself the Gun Club. You're working with the Acclaim. The Acclaim are still going to call you ass boys. You know this by now.
But on that note, Gene, are you loving the Acclaimed? I feel like
I love the Acclaim right from the get-go.
And I did not. That's what I was going to say is I was not a fan. I found them very obnoxious. But something now has changed, and the whole finger me, daddy-o!
No, it's scissor me, daddy-o! Good.
And I love the way they play off the ass boys that can never get the city.
I love the Acclaim because they were like, how can I put it?
They're like the new age Outlaws 2.0.
Max Caster is like the
hold up now.
John Cena Thugonomics we've always wanted, and he comes out and he just spews shit on everybody, and you want to hate him, but then he can back it up with the shit that he does in the ring.
So, Bleacher Report's notable moments from the buy-in are Marshall is really good at playing the jerk. He has the body language down very well. Yeah. I agree. QT Marshall is an amazing heel.
Yeah.
He was so he was so bland as a face in the beginning of AEW. And I realized he's really only used to put over talent, but he's good at doing it. Good at playing the heel.
Yep.
The way Archer landed on his head when he hit the cannonball in the ring was scary, but he got right back up and kept going. Seeing a guy like Archer walk the top rope and hit a moonsault will always be impressive.
Yep.
The stretch muscular submission spot with Swerve and Desperado ringside was great.
Yep.
The way Lee saves himself and Swerve from submission at the same time was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Billy was the biggest dude in his match by a wide margin.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. So, as Gene said, first match of the actual pay-per-view, Jericho, Guevara, and Suzuki versus Kingston, Yuta, and Umino. If you saw AEW this past week, in the hair match, Guevara revealed himself to be a part of the JAS. I love this because, I'm sorry, there is no more, I've heard it so many times, there's no one more sadistic and sick in the head as far as a wrestler than Minoru Suzuki.
Facts.
There is maybe Eddie Kingston and Suzuki are probably right here. But first match on the main show, the match was a fight from the moment, which you knew it was going to be a brawl, especially because it's also leading up to Blood and Guts.
Yep.
Bleacher Report gave it a B. Dean, thoughts?
Damn. Just a B?
B plus. I'm sorry, B plus.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Okay, the biggest moment in that match for me was the time between Minoru Suzuki and Eddie Kingston, and when they're slapping the chops.
All right, so notable moments, Gene. The fourth notable moment, Suzuki no-selling Kingston chops was a fun moment. The way Kingston reacted really helped make it work.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, this one right here, this final observation of this match, everything Yuta does looks great. He's one of those guys who just gets it. I agree. Yuta could probably be holding the TNT title in 3 to 6 months, and possibly, if he keeps this field of growth the way he is, possibly be the youngest champion in AEW history.
I'd like to say right now with Wheeler Yuta, we need to see a match between Scorpio Sky and
I agree.
the TNT
I agree.
title.
Like a serious match.
And I don't think it needs to be 3 or 4 months. I think it needs to be when Scorpio is healthy. That's when you put it together, because that would be perfect time.
It's going to Wardlow next. Wardlow's about.
It's got to be.
Like, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. To finish the story with everything that's going, yes, right, okay.
That's why I say 3 to 6 months.
But
give Wardlow a little bit of a run.
Yeah, but then you're going to get, and we're going to hear this from everybody. Then you're going to get him in the Goldberg position. But I will give Wardlow this: he can at least talk on the mic, and you know what I mean. So he's not one.
We talked about it a couple of weeks ago.
He's not one dimensional.
He's got it all. I love that he's adopted the Wardlow chant, because where I did not like Goldberg is Goldberg was only good for 10 to 15 minutes. Wardlow can go in there and has shown with his first match with Cody, has shown he can go in there and have a battle.
Yep.
For 20 and 30 minutes. Also, he's great in the ring. Also, he's pretty damn good on the mic as well. He's interesting and charismatic, and for a big guy, he also can move. For a big guy in this era to check all of those boxes is pretty rare.
It is. It is very, very rare for a big guy to pull that all off.
So other notable moments, Suzuki's entrance music alone is over with the crowd more than a lot of the stars
that's
on the
always a
roster.
sell point. I'm sorry, if you have Suzuki on a pay-per-view and you do not say, "Oh, say hey," if you do not sing along, then you know what I mean.
Suzuki, the man, is just about as over as anyone right now.
There's a hint to this. If you caught it in the commentary, it was Excalibur says to him, you got to watch out, or not Excalibur. Kevin Kelly's telling them, like, don't make eye contact with Minoru Suzuki. And Taz goes, "Yeah, I got a black towel in my closet as well, so he doesn't scare me." You know what I mean? But
I don't think it can happen, because from what I've heard, his injuries are to the point he's never going to be cleared again.
No.
But God, please give me one more Taz match. One more.
Yeah, but then it would be like almost like when we got Bret Hart and Vince McMahon. It will never live up to the hype.
God.
So you know what I mean? Hate to blow your dreams.
I mean, as much as I say that, I'm almost getting a resurgence of Taz, because Hook is good. Hook is really good.
He is. The next match, but the Jericho Appreciation Society, they pull off the fluky win.
Couple last observations were Amino's jacket should be sold on merch sites. Kingston exposing his chest the moment he saw Suzuki get tagged in was a very specific kind of energy. Second match, Roppongi Vice versus United Empire versus FTR. This match, honestly, was one I was the most excited for.
Yep.
Roppongi Vice is very well known in the junior tag team division in New Japan.
Yep.
Jeff Cobb is a motherfucking beast.
He's always going to be a beast. He's got the Kurt Angle credentials, and he's not even in the WWE. Just imagine what he would be like.
Oh yeah.
But I'm sorry, guys. There is no tag team right now that is hotter than 7-star motherfucking FTR and the New Japan heavyweight tag team
champions, and still
the ROH tag team champions
and Triple A tag team
Triple A tag champions. Yep.
I'm sorry. Is there and I was excited to talk about this because I want to take this in a couple of directions with FTR. Is there a more dominant tag team? And is there in a whole, you look at the ones that really have had a good after WWE career in the last 10 years. I'm not talking about like Kurt Angle with his Impact run and things like that. But I'll even say last 5 years since AEW came into it. FTR, Taya Valkyrie, and Matt Cardona are the only people that have really had a truly successful, like 5-star run after WWE. And what FTR has managed to do in 3 years, like they truly are one of the greatest tag teams.
I'm going to say this to you, and it was said way, way back in the NXT days. FTR said it, that they were going to be the most dominant tag team in professional wrestling. They said it in numerous promos in NXT. After NXT, they still said it, and it's coming
to fruition.
And
to answer your question, Josie, if you listen to WB fan, the Usos are right there. If you listen to WB fan,
I'm sorry. Again, as we've discussed,
maybe they too.
Pro wrestling and there's sports entertainment.
Yeah, but
I don't think you can compare those two things.
No, but I think.
But level of success.
I'm gonna say this, because let's use this as the platform, as the bus that everybody can get on and everybody can get off. That pro wrestling and sports entertainment, they emerge. If we're looking at this, because FTR was in WWE, that's where they started. That's where they get they get their reference. You know what I mean? That's what makes them who they are. You know, the revival. They were bringing back. They were bringing back old school. They were no flips, all punch, and they still do that today. No flips, all punch.
Just kicks.
Yeah. If you look at it, they had matches with
just fists. That's
the New Day, and they had matches with the Usos, and they were as on their level or better than at times. You know what I mean? So to see this now, to see them all in a sense, FTR, Usos, New Day, they're all sort of getting, in a sense, resurging the tag team division in their companies. That's great. Because WWE has always shitted on tag teams, but yet it's a thing for the launch. And like most of the story with RK Bro was all tag team. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You wanted to watch it. And that was putting the Usos, RK Bro, Street Profits over. So, and even though that, it's not the greatest storytelling, and there's still that we don't like tag team. At least they're putting it on there. At least they're giving them time. At least they're giving them story. At least they're booking them. Whereas AEW, yes, they love the tag team wrestling, and it shows in Forbidden Door. The three teams that faced off, it was a phenomenal match from start to finish, and the right people, I believe, went over, and that is 110%. FTR.
Okay, so they now hold the ROH Championship, the New Japan Championship, the AAA Championship.
Yep.
What is next for FTR? I don't think. Now I know what people want. They want the Young Bucks and FTR to win that match.
Mm-hmm.
To set up a third match sometime down the line. I don't think they need to do it yet. I think they need 4 titles before they go to that.
I say right now, to be honest, we already got the call out from GOD to FTR. GOD has already stated to FTR, don't play in that little, the little pent up, sandbox that you're playing in. Don't be scared of the fence. And GOD wants another title shot at the IWGP tag team titles. I think you do that. I also think you take FTR and you go over to Impact, and you push the feud between the Good Brothers and the Briscoes a little bit more, because then there's a little bit more stay power. You give them another title, which is Impact, and then you go, okay, Now they need the AEW tag team
Agreed.
champion.
Agreed. That's the.
That's how you run that story.
It would either be Impact or NWA.
And that's a heck of a team to beat in the Briscoes.
And FTR has already beat the Briscoes for the ROH title.
Yeah, a couple months ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, at Death Before.
It was Supercard.
Yeah.
Supercard of Honor. Yeah, Supercard of Honor.
Because you got Death Before Dishonor coming up.
Yeah. So you know what I mean. There was a good build up, but here's the thing: you can still play that feud between the Good Brothers. You can have FTR come in and help the Briscoes, and you can have the Good Brothers tag up with a couple other heel teams, and you can run that for a while before the tag team titles get put on FTR. But you essentially, that's where they're going. You know that's where they're going to go, and then they go to AEW and they go, look, we've got all these tag team belts. We're willing to put all these tag team belts up for your guys' AEW tag team championship. Do you accept? Why not would the Young Bucks go for that? Because again, big money plus all these
big
belts,
money,
right?
yeah.
And then FTR gets over, and then look, we're the Ultimo Dragon of tag team division. You know what I mean?
And I mean that's with what I'm about to say here. That's the only way you can go.
Yeah.
That match was a B+. And right here is why this is the only way you can go. FTR is over as anyone else on this entire card.
Yeah.
Which includes Minoru Suzuki, who's a motherfucking legend.
Yeah.
The crowd absolutely loves Wheeler and Harwood.
Yeah.
They did their time as heel in AEW. They are great heels. No one can deny that. But
they can work heel, they can work face. They're at that point now.
But now they're at that point where they're sheer wrestling talent and just how good they are in the ring. The matches that Dax has had in the last few months with Punk and with just several. The match him and Wheeler had for the Owen Hart Foundation was mind-blowing. It looked like Harwood may have been injured when he went for the elbow drop, but it was tough to say. That we know now that's probably a work. They were kind of pushing it in the press conference. This one, Cobb might be Rhino's son. Can we get Maury Povich on this? This one right here, and I think Will agree with me here. AEW needs to get a title on Trent Beretta at some point.
Quick, fast, and in a hurry.
A reliable performer for so long.
Good hand.
He's so good.
Okay, so this moves into this. Now that we have Pac as our new Atlantic champion, inter-Atlantic champion, do you put up a Pac versus Beretta?
That'd be a good one. They have history.
Yep.
So
is the next match coming into?
Give him a title. I'm not going to push Beretta as like, oh, he's got to become a world heavyweight champion. But hey, give him something.
He's been a good hand for so long.
And look way he was treated in New Japan. Like let's be honest. Look at the way he was treated in New Japan. The crew. Light heavyweight tag team champion with Rocky Romero. Rocky didn't break them up. He said, hey, Trent, you're bigger than this. You can go out and put him in the heavyweight division. Floundered for a bit, then came to AEW, created the best friends, back and forth, and really, they had I think the best friends are like 2-time IWGP heavyweight champion, tag team champions. Beretta's had his ups. Beretta's had his downs. He fought through a lot of injury.
Yeah.
Do I see him? Would I like to say, do I see him winning the Atlantic title? I'm hoping. It'd be nice to see him with the title, but at the same time, it would give a solid It would give a solid story for Pac now. Though, would you say, hey, look at Pac and go, do you not have, Malachi Black or Miro go after him after what had happened? Maybe, you know what I mean? And then again, Brett is sitting on the shelf doing whatever. it's just the nature of the beast. You know, you can't push everybody, and you
That's
can't
true.
give everybody titles.
That's true.
You know what I mean? We can't create participation awards for everybody.
So, as you mentioned, Pac won this match. I do want to talk about it. Highest rated match by Bleacher Report. This match got an A-. Would you expect anything less, though? I don't know a lot about Clark Connors. He was replacing Tomohiro Ishii
Yeah.
because Ishii had a fever. But, I mean, Malachi Black, Pac, and Miro are all headliners. Easy.
Okay. So I'm going to say this. If you weren't a Clark Connors fan, you didn't know about Clark Connors, but you bought the pay-per-view, and you were thinking Tomo Ishii was going to come out, knee injury happened, they replaced him with Connors, and you'd never seen a Connors match, which I've seen some. This was a really good outing for him. Does it make him not winning? No, I didn't expect him to win, but he kept his own with big dogs in there. Yep. So yeah, him going back to New Japan, if they don't push him in a light heavyweight championship direction.
It says Connors got a huge pop when he put Miro through the table.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if you don't, as New Japan, when he goes back, if you don't start pushing him in some form, light heavyweight championship, or even, I know they don't have an Intercontinental title anymore, but if you didn't push him in some direction like that, you got to now. Connors is now, he's booked himself in that position now. He's hung with three big guys that are main players, main stars: Miro, Malachi Black, and Pac. And he didn't get lost. You recognized him as much as you recognized all the others. So that's a good.
Notable moments from that match: the crowd not giving Miro one of the biggest pops of the night was a little disappointing to see. I think that's because of Miro's story right now. I don't like the Redeemer gimmick. I really don't.
He should have kept him the way he was when he had this.
Yeah,
which is what they're trying to reborn, but now like he's fighting against God, and it's just, I don't know.
No, at this point, I think it's going to take some time. It's like any good gimmick. How long did it take for us to get over with the Bulgarian Brute?
That's true. My only thing is though, fellas, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And that's the truth. But at the same time, too, look how many times Jericho has reinvented himself.
That's true.
And it took time, but yet it's got him over.
Yeah.
It keeps you relevant. It keeps you doing something new. You're not constantly coming in, doing it, and then feel like you're getting into it.
I want him and Lana together.
Lana's right now so freaking busy. CJ Parker is so busy. I follow her on Instagram. She's so busy with this, that, and the next thing. So I don't see it. And she's I think she's out from pro wrestling or sports entertainment. She's doing her own thing, and she's happy with what she's doing now.
Yeah, she's modeling, doing a little bit of acting, isn't she?
Acting, and a lot of acting. She's just got like a shit ton of scripts sent to her. So
wow.
Connors is one of those guys who's so. I feel like Connors does fall under this, like the Jonathan Gresham. He's one of those guys who's so well proportioned that you don't realize how short he is until he's next to someone else. He's like Jonathan Gresham in that way, because Jonathan Gresham is tiny, bro.
Yeah.
Like, he's tiny. And Cena was the same way. Nobody realized Cena's only like 5'7".
Yep. So here's the thing. Like I said, the right person won. I love the whole giving the black mist, but it hit Miro, and Connors tried to pull it off, but then Pat comes out of nowhere and basically takes the whole advantage and gets the 1, 2, 3. I think it builds for a story yet again between the House of Black and Death Triangle. I think we're going to see a little bit more of that story, but that's going to evolve. I hope that involves a little bit more with Julia Hart and builds her story out a little bit, because you need that the filler for that. But then, what was the next match after this one? Was it the Thunder Rosa?
After that one, we got Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm.
Well,
I thought Toni Storm was going to win that match. I really did.
First off, yes, I agree with you, Will. But the next match was actually, and I don't even want to talk about it because I just didn't care, was Bullet Club versus Dudes with Attitude.
I didn't care about that either.
Okay.
I didn't care about that either.
Okay. I liked how it all started. I
Yeah,
like
I
how
agree.
the entrances play into one another. So you had the entrances of dudes with attitude. You know, Darby or the Dragon comes out on his own. Darby comes out. They play Sting's music, but Sting doesn't show up. They're wondering where Sting is. Then the Young Bucks and they had their old Bullet Club music come together. Phantasmo, they're all out there. And then all of a sudden, midway through their, you know, as they're doing their pose, the pyro just or their streamers just pop, and then all of a sudden, lights go out, go to the rafters, but he's not there. Poof, go back, and then Darby's laughing, and then boom, Sting jumps up. This is great. I like the reference to the dudes with attitude. Only goes back to when Sting tagged with a bunch of guys from WCW taking on Japan guys, and they called themselves the dudes with attitude with Scott and Rick Steiner and Lex Luger.
But going to the match, I did want to talk about. This was another A- rated match. I agree with you, Will. I thought for sure the way they built it, like I thought for sure Storm was walking out with this title. She was gonna be the quickest title winner from WWE. And like it made sense because as much as I love Thunder Rosa, and I do, she's amazing. This run has not been great for her.
You can hear you when she got hold of that title, you can hear a pin drop, literally.
The greatest part about her reign, the greatest part has been her gear at pay-per-views.
Yep.
Rose's gear at pay-per-views is incredible.
Yes, and then there's also to really play this up. Thunder Rosa has never been able or has never been in a big company winning a big title and held the big strap and trying to get the mainstream company over. She has never been in that position. When she was in NWA, it was still just coming up. It was still just beginning.
True.
So she wins the strap, but then somebody else takes it from her who's bigger, that's able to carry the company. Thunder Rosa still needs, and I love Thunder Rosa as a character. I love Thunder Rosa as a wrestler and as a female competitor.
Right.
But she still needs seasoning, and the seasoning comes in promo. You get the strap. Now you got to be able to not just wear the strap and go, yeah, I'm the champion and I'm going to fight, and that's what you're doing. You want to be able to put butts in seats.
Right.
Britt Baker can get you to put butts in. She's like the Ric Flair female version.
Yeah.
You literally, she doesn't have to be at every house show competing, but
Right.
you want to see her at that main event getting her ass beat because you want to see that title get off her, and she won't. You know what I mean? Ric Flair, that's what drew his money. And it goes back to that old saying, regardless if you're a man or woman, it's not the title that makes the man or woman. It's the woman or man that makes that title.
Right.
And right now, Thunder Rosa gives that title no credibility. Plus, we've had incidences, which has leaked, that she does, that certain people she's worked with, she doesn't like working with those people. And when she works with them, you know what I mean? You can see it in matches. It doesn't bode well when you're the champion. You got to be able to play nice and work with everybody.
Right.
Not just pick and choose.
And I wish Tessa Blanchard was here to hear you say that.
So
I really wish she was here to hear you say that. She'll probably report Oliver for sexual harassment if she was here, but
so Meltzer ratings haven't come out yet, but if he doesn't get this,
all these are from Dave Meltzer?
No.
These are from Bleacher Report.
I'm about to say, okay.
But if he doesn't give this match a 5-star, he's smoking crack, and that's
smoking crack without the ratings.
How can I put this? The match was good.
It was an A+ by Bleacher Report.
The match was okay, but me as a pure wrestling, I literally, it was a match that gets lost. And not because it has anything to do with Toni Storm. Toni Storm, you can tell she's working her butt off.
Oh, no.
Thunder doesn't hold up her end of the bargain to the
I
match.
moved on to Ospreay and Cassidy.
I was sort of kind of shocked by that. Kind of.
You know what
Not
I mean?
too much, but kind of. When we talk about Will Ospreay, I was sort of kind of shocked by that a little bit.
Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy.
I was pulling for Orange Cassidy, to be honest with y'all.
This was phenomenal.
Will
and Orange played it well.
Yep.
I love the scene where Will Ospreay's got Orange Cassidy in a the abdominal stretch. He puts his hand in his pocket and then he gives you the old finger. They played everything so well. They had their spots where it was
and
best, but you had the moments.
Cassidy had one of his best wrestling matches that you've seen in AEW.
Mhm.
Like there wasn't a lot of his shtick in
No.
this match.
But I was kind of hoping he was going to get that window.
I was too.
Yep.
I wanted to see him as the U.S. champion. I really did.
Mhm.
But I don't think
plays,
this is over either.
No,
Yeah,
I don't think
yeah,
it's
yeah.
over. But it plays well. One, Orange Cassidy's part of Chaos, so I don't think it's ever going to be over. He can go over to Japan. Two, it plays well for the Empire, especially to have a feud later on in New Japan. Empire versus Bullet Club. It works well with Juice Robinson still not giving up the United States Championship in New Japan. Having Will versus Juice is going to be phenomenal. Even if
Let
it's a
that
three-way
get
at
settled
Wrestle Kingdom,
and then bring Will back.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Even if there's a three-way at Wrestle Kingdom where you have Will Ospreay, Juice Robinson, and Orange Cassidy.
I think I might have just. I might need to go change my pants on that one.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like it would bode well because you would have a Chaos versus Empires versus Bullet Club feud for a title. It would make it all legit. It would work. It would really, really work.
So Bleacher Report rated that an A+.
For sure, 100%. I love this match from start to finish, and I'm going to tell you this right now: if Will Ospreay,
it should have shut some mouth on some Cassidy critics, but
shut some mouth on Cassidy critics. But also, if you're not talking about Will Ospreay and saying that he can't fucking wrestle, this match, go watch it.
Gene, you say that. The last observation, notable moment on this is, what do you even say about a guy who tries to hit 2 moonsaults, a shooting star press, and a corkscrew splash in the span of 4 seconds? Ospreay is nuts. Cassidy breaking the turnbuckle camera with Ospreay's face was a fun spot.
Yes,
Ospreay
that was great.
At one point, that looked hard enough to take someone out for real.
Yep.
But Cassidy didn't skip a beat.
You got to remember they're playing when it's the IWGP United States title. They're playing in New Japan Strong Style rules.
Yeah.
Strong Style rules means I hit you in the face with a slap, you're getting knocked out. You know what I mean?
If you watch New Japan, having Juice in the crowd was a really nice touch.
Yeah.
The spinning backbreaker Ospreay used at one point looked really good. Seeing Cassidy have a huge smile on his face is so weird, but it felt appropriate for the moment.
Yep.
It was rumored that Cassidy would be using new entrance music, but at this point, he's still coming out to the pixels. Next match, Zack Sabre Jr. versus mystery opponent. And ladies and gentlemen, the pop of the motherfucking night, Claudio Castagnoli is all elite.
Yes, he is.
In case you don't know who that is, ladies and gentlemen,
that
is Cesaro.
Formerly known as Cesaro.
Yes.
I'm
good to see him. Good to see him.
He looked great. He did. I will say one critique I heard. This was another A+ match, but one critique I heard is he threw a lot of the European uppercut. And I've felt this already with him. He kind of dumbed down his moveset for WWE, and I think it's going to take him a little time to work that out.
Oh, yeah. I think he will.
Personally. Notable moments. I'm going to try and speed this along because we still got a lot to talk about. The pop the crowd gave Castagnoli was probably the biggest of the night.
Oh, yeah.
If he's part of the Blackpool Combat Club permanently moving forward, it might officially become the best current stable in pro wrestling. I tend to agree. This, if they keep going in the direction they are with the Blackpool Combat Club, could overtake the Bloodline as one of the best factions right now.
Oh yeah,
that's not hard to do. Consider what a Bloodline is right now.
Well, I mean, they are still one of the more dominant factions in pro wrestling right now. Unfortunately, I know you're not a fan, but it's true.
I ain't a fan at all.
Castagnoli casually holding a man above your head while you walk up the stairs in the ring is low-key hilarious. The crowd really wanted to see the big swing, let out a collective groan when CSJ countered it.
I I wish we had seen a little. To me, though, honestly, I think I wish it had been Danielson and Sabre Jr. You would have got more of a technical style
I
match.
mean, that match
But-
needs to happen once
Yes.
Danielson is like
But
it needs to happen. But
to
he was a great replacement.
To have Castagnoli show up as the replacement, it fits, but then it also puts the ringer in Sabre Jr. because Sabre really, in comparison, is not a bigger guy. He is a lanky, very flexible guy. And usually when he goes up against those bigger guys, he tends to have problems. And we've seen that in that match.
Sabre countering a sharpshooter and the heel hook was a thing of beauty.
That was good. That was
second to last match of the night: White versus Cole versus Page versus Okada. I mean, there's so much in this match. There's so much history. It's a grade A. Jay White won.
He deserves to win.
Yep, he deserved that. He deserved that.
He
Yep.
deserves to win, but like we already kind of talked about, I would have loved to seen Page at Hangman Adam Page or Adam Cole win this, and they switch titles for a while. But
yes,
Jay
but
White
at the
deserves
same time,
it. But I'm not sure. I think maybe what changed this is maybe White wasn't originally planned to win against Okada yet. And then when they did, they changed the plans. Jay's going to keep the title for a while.
Yeah, but also it puts into a good story. Like there's always been a very good story feud between Okada and who's ever the heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
Whether it had been Kenny Omega, Jay White, whomever. Even Tanahashi, Ishii, depending on whoever holds that title, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, whoever holds it, usually there's a good rivalry with Okada always.
Okada got the biggest pop of the four men.
The fatal four-way, or the four-on man match, multi-man match. You needed Jay White to walk out because it, like he said at the beginning of the night, Juice had done the exact same thing with big guys, pulled off that win, got the United States title. So you want to make the Bullet Club look legit.
Yeah,
right.
You don't want them to be going from just Dominion not too long ago, and then you see Jay White look like a total bum ass.
And New Japan has been working really hard as of late with Impact and things to build Bullet Club back to what it used to be, and it would have really hurt them to lose the title.
Yeah. So when you're doing something like this and long-term booking, I think you're still going to see Jay White, Okada. You still want to build, because you have the G1 climax as well in this. Mm-hmm. So there's that. Okada's in it, Tanahashi Ishii is going to be in there. Even some of the names from guys from AEW could show up in this, No
one was listed, which surprised me.
But you never know. Archer representing Suzuki-gun. He's already in the C block. I guess they were saying there's 4 blocks this year.
I've only seen A and B, I believe.
Yeah, there are 4 blocks. There's A, B, C, and D, and C block is the big man block. So you know what I mean. So there are some names.
So Okada got the biggest pop of the 4 men in this match.
Okada was going to. As soon as you hear the ding.
It's also the type of fan that AEW is. Like you said, they're not really the promotion for the casual fan. The people that watch AEW usually watch or know of what New Japan is.
And that's right.
And like we said,
the best way to describe it to people, as I describe AEW to a casual fan, the fans that are up at the very front of the stage or up at the very front of the ring, those are your super fans. Those are your super marks. Everybody behind that are your regular, just everyday off the road. Hey, this sounded really cool. Let's go get this.
And they still know.
Yeah. And they still know a bit. But as soon as they walk in and as soon as, 20 minutes in, there are guys that are up in the front telling these people in the back, this guy, pay attention, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So,
well,
you know what I mean?
The thing I want to throw at Eugene is, when Okada made an appearance at Dynamite this week, they had a girl on screen that was in the nosebleeds. The moment that coin flipped, she was like,
oh! yeah, you know what I mean? But that's what I'm saying. Like, there's just certain reactions and she probably may have not really known. Like she could have been like, oh, this coin, like what does this mean? And then all of a sudden Okada comes up and then everybody else is screaming.
No, she knew what it meant and was like blown away that he was there.
Yeah, but this is the thing yet again. Like I said, in this Fatal 4-Way, it was a great build. It doesn't make anybody look bad. It gives you story potential with Jay White and Adam Cole. It gives you story potential between Okada and Hangman.
And this does with Cole like basically turning on White. It will lead to an undisputed versus the Bullet
I wouldn't be surprised. Mark my words. If you look at maybe go and look at the D block, and they will rearrange it, and you might have Adam Cole and Hangman Page automatically show up. You don't know what could happen. G1 is one of those things you just don't know.
Right.
And then we had the big match of the night.
Hang on,
Moxley.
Crowd was chanting "Holy shit" before anyone even threw a punch.
Because yet again, and they were like they said. The new IWGP Heavyweight Championship is the merge of both the Heavyweight Championship and their Intercontinental title coming together. This is the first time it's been defended in a multi-man match at all. So it's big news in Japan, and it's big news in AEW just because it's a first.
Yeah.
They've got a first. At Forbidden Door, it's a first. Regardless with the interim time, this is a first. And to have Jay White walk away being called still the champion, and now he's got that extra moniker. I've beat 3 of the top named guys. They had to breathe my air. And this is the very first time this title has ever been defended in a multi-man match, and I'm your winner. Yeah. You know this is going to give Bullet Club that push.
Yeah.
Everybody always talks about how good Allen's suicide dives look, because it's brutal. But Page is one of the cleanest. Cole and Page have mastered the super kick counter to a moonsault spot. It felt like
that anti, as they call it, the anti-air super kick. That was phenomenal.
It felt like Cole. It felt like Cole threw more super kicks in this match than both Bucks did in their match.
Yeah, but also too.
Oh my goodness.
But also too, it's the way the story played out. You had Hangman and Okada, who are not you.
Oh, we lost Gene.
Did we lose him?
Looked like we did. Oh, wait a minute. He put it on
there
mute.
Just went black.
Yeah.
Well, the next thing is a doctor was checking on Cole after the match. I do hope he's okay. We don't need any more goddamn injuries.
Yeah, we don't need any more injuries.
Jon Moxley versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. We all know how this one ended. Moxley is the 2-time AEW champion. Now the interim champion will face Punk at some point for a unification match. Which, don't get me wrong, Punk versus Moxley, dream motherfucking match.
Yeah.
Super excited to see it when it happens. But if you were to give me a choice versus Punk versus Moxley or Punk versus Tanahashi,
I'm taking Tanahashi.
I'd take the voice of the voiceless versus the ace any day of the week.
Any day of the week. Yep.
Especially for the fact that both Punk and Moxley have a little bit of time left. Tanahashi is nearing the end of his career.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very much so.
Tanahashi,
very much so.
Even when he was walking down, usually he's got that swag, that vigor to him when he's coming down, and air guitar and everything like that. But you didn't get that type of feel on Tanahashi. He came out, he gestured to the crowd, but even Moxley played this off as very calm, cool, collective, only due to the fact that if you watch the promo leading up, Tanahashi's been ducking me for 3 years, and he's taking this very, very, very serious.
Tanahashi also knows gently.
And him walking out with William Regal, Moxley, and how they got him walking out. I have just finished watching the Last Dance with Michael Jordan. It felt very Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan-esque playing into that. So everything working the way it did. The match was phenomenal. And this is my one thing, and I'm not trying to nitpick. I'm just saying, did we need to see Moxley bleed? I don't think it needed that.
Well,
but
what
it
they
added,
say here was the way Moxley was bleeding from the head led to
Yeah.
several huge blood spots forming at ringside.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, did that need to happen? Did that? No.
You
But
know, Mox loves to bleed.
But yeah, you know what I mean. It's Mox, okay, and I
Yep.
get
Yep.
that.
Yep.
I get that. You know, it's Moxley. It's part of his demeanor by now in his character.
Let me ask you guys. So let me
Table
ask you.
spot could have looked better, but it's hard to always make it look good. There was a kick out by Tanahashi that looked like it was a hair too late, but Aubrey Edwards knew not to count to 3 at that moment. And that's why I say, fuck off anybody who wants to shit on Aubrey Edwards. She is a great referee. Amazing.
Audrey, and like she said, she's not there for the attention on her, yet the attention does get to her, but she's there to help move the story along.
What people don't realize is if you go back and you look at WWE for the last 30 years, if you go look at WC, the refs still emoted when amazing things happened. Now, do AEW refs tend to play in that a little bit more?
Yes.
But it's also the fact that she's a woman that it has a heavily makeup face when she's out there, and you're always going to notice the face she's going to make. I always notice Bryce Remsburg's reactions, and he doesn't have makeup on.
Nope. But this is the thing. There are some good refs that can help sell the match, and then there's others that you totally like. Hugh Hefner or Dave Hefner or a Hef could help sell the match. They were part of the match. They had great ref bumps, whatever.
AEW, I'll give you one. In AEW, 2 refs that are great at selling matches are Bryce Remsburg and Aubrey Edwards. But if you want a legitimate ref that's in there to just be a ref, they're going to end up putting Paul. I can't think.
The one that ref the 4-way.
Yes, the skinny. Some hair, but not a lot of hair. He is the guy they usually go to for like the legitimate ref look. But those 2 are meant to, and it's also the connection. Bryce refs a lot of matches for like Cesaro. The fact that he was in that Cesaro match was a big deal. He's Eddie Kingston,
Ring of Honor, stuff like that.
They have a lot of history with him.
Between
Ring of Honor and Pro Wrestling Guerrilla.
But this is what I'm saying. Like when you watch the match is phenomenal. Tanahashi still gives it his all. We still get to see a high five flow. We still get to see Moxley hit like 3 or 4 different paradigm shifts. We still get him to, he's literally trying to choke Tanahashi out, and Tanahashi ain't gonna give him the pleasure of tapping out or even passing out. But I think too they were like at that end, to me, just felt like they were struggling for time. And they were. I think they were. Somebody had told them, like, I think Audrey or one of them, we're coming up to that point. Got.
Well, and they still had to get the blood and guts
off the thing
in to push that. So overall, Gene, it sounds like you're the only person that actually watched it here. So I'm only going to ask for your rating. Overall, what do you give Forbidden Door?
I give Forbidden Door, if I'm rating it as like Meltzer star ratings, for a pay-per-view mid-summer, not expected.
They don't normally do.
And they don't normally do. Definitely a 4.5. It was entertaining. It's a great little, I want to say a little bell ringer for the up-and-coming SummerSlam, because we're getting a repeat of Mania all over again.
And it gave them, it gave AEW to where they have kind of a bookend. Like they've got an opener with this for SummerSlam season. Because WWE's prepping for that now. We've already got Lesnar versus Reigns. 25.
I was going to say for the 365,000th time.
And then right after SummerSlam is over, AEW will be going into All Out.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's true. I think, and it also, whether or not there's great big stories that come out of this, it's enough that if you're a long-term story dude,
Mm-hmm.
Later on, if
Yeah.
something comes out from this, like somebody shows up, you understand why. You go, oh yeah, that's right. Forbidden Door
Well,
just
and
happened.
I don't think this is the end of it. Like,
No.
like in listening to Moxley on the podcast with Renee this week, it sounds like he's finally got what he wanted. He no longer has to be the middleman between the two companies. Like, if they want to do something, they just talk and figure it out. And I think there's going to be much more to go on between New Japan and AEW.
And I think it's perfect time. I think it's a perfect time for New Japan. They've had how long has they had the LA Dojo?
Well, in New Japan Strong,
yeah,
finally, it took years. It took years. New Japan fought hard, but it took years. But COVID did one good thing for one company at least, and it gave them some ground here in the U.S. And New Japan Strong has been pretty successful.
And the reason for that, for those that didn't know, you had New Japan had a LA dojo for some time, and there is the Tokyo dojo, the big one that everybody tries to go for. And when COVID hit, it was perfect because you still had New Japan guys that were in the LA dojo, so they needed something, so that's how they could create Strong. And you had the MLW guys that were like, hey, we're not doing anything. We need something. If this works out, blah blah
Moxley,
blah. And you had some mix of some MLW guys in there as well.
Yep.
Where over in Japan, you still had the New Japan, but it was it needed some help. So with having Strong, it helped. So that stories later on that came over to Japan, they all started out of here, and it gave legitimacy finally that we've been waiting for the LA dojo for some time. So I think it's great. And I liked how they were, again, the LA dojo being on the buy-in, like you would see in Japan, being the Young Lions. Yes, they're going to get their butts beat, but it showcases all these guys, and it was really good.
All right.
Start from finish, like I said, 4.5. Definitely go watch it. It is a watchable pay-per-view. You will find something that you will enjoy. And I'm saying this for each match, even if the match is low, like a Sting, the dudes with that, there were still some fun things in there because like you saw Sting pulling off moves with this young guy and keeping up with him, and was still able to do it. You know
that
what
was
I mean?
one of the notable things from that match is, and you see it and I think that's why they save his matches so much, and he doesn't do a lot of work on regular shows, is because he's been taking some big bumps lately, and it's impressive.
I had to laugh. I had to laugh out of my seat when El Phantasmo, Canadian being that's what he is Canadian, El Phantasmo, tried to nipple twist Sting. Sting plays it off, he screams in his face, and then later nipple twists El Phantasmo. Like, this was great. It was a fun match.
So the last, I mean, we kind of discussed this, but the last thing, minus WWE, if you could see any promotion, even make it a three-way, AEW versus New Japan versus whoever, who would be the best promotion? And I think we already said it, especially if you make it a three-way because of their relationship with New Japan anyway. Impact versus AEW versus New Japan would be amazing. I would love,
it will be. It
will
be.
I mean, imagine a champion versus champion match versus CM Punk, Jay White, the Switchblade.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if the guy, Alexander.
Josh Alexander.
I don't know if he would be fit for that
Josie.
match.
Yeah.
Josie.
What?
We really can't. We don't want to. Yeah, you go. We can see your face now. We can see your face.
Sorry. And I don't know it. I don't know if Alexander fits in that, honestly.
Oh, yeah, he does.
Moose.
He does.
Yeah, I think he fits too. I think he fits too.
The reason I say this, and I will defend this, Josh Alexander is, has fought his butt off to become champion. He's a deserving champion. He can face top tier competition. We've seen him face Charlie Haas. We've seen him take on, Jonah. We've seen him take on, some of the biggest and the baddest and hold himself. He's faced Moose, who's supposedly the wrestling god, and beat him.
Yep.
He deserves to be in Impact World Champion. I think he would fit perfectly. Would he win? I'm not going to say he's going to go over and win, but he's not going to be lost as like a third tier guy, like a third wheel. He would fit in perfectly with those guys. He would work well with Jay White. And even if you didn't put him in like a title match, even if you are going to have like each individual one will have their own title match.
Yep.
Josh Alexander versus Ethan Page, that goes over
Ooh-wee.
tremendously.
Yeah, that would be a great one. That would be an amazing match.
So, even if they did what they did here in Forbidden Door, and they do it like a second one, and they give them individual, it would work perfectly.
Yeah, so I think that's what AEW needs to work for.
The only thing I'm going to say is if you do Forbidden Door 2, whether you put it on the buy-in or you put it on the main show, you still have to feature your TBS champion. I understand why he wasn't. Scorpio Sky is injured. I get that. But you still could have had Jade Cargill.
Jay should have been there.
Featured.
Jay should have been there.
Easily, and you could grab, because they talked about it in New Japan, that Stardom is like a sister promotion to New Japan.
I think that was the issue, is they weren't directly working with Stardom this time, so they didn't have any women. The only woman that got work in this entire pay-per-view was Ty Conti.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Ty and Rosa and Storm. 3 women.
I did want to break down Blood and Guts, but we've already went an hour and a half. I will say that we will discuss the recap of Blood and Guts next week.
Yes.
Because Forbidden Door took a lot to talk about.
It is. It was a long.
It was a huge event.
Pay-per-view. History making.
Huge event.
Yeah.
But just to say, I think here, I really hope that this is the end of the JAS and Combat Club. I hope this Wednesday it finalizes that.
Better to the JAS, man. Don't come on, man.
Like, I'm not saying like the JAS is done as a group. I say,
not just that. Gene,
yeah.
I really hope that this is the end of the Eddie Kingston Jericho feud. I'm ready for Eddie to move on.
I think at this point where you have, if you pardon me, but if you were watching a little bit to the end of Forbidden Door, there was an argument between Eddie and Moxley, and I think that's you got to settle something there. I think that's coming to settle something. I think that's, whether it's for the title or not, but I would like to see it for a title.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Oh, I just had a okay. Moxley versus Kingston. Kingston wins, go on to face Punk.
Yep.
For 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
I'm sorry. I have said since he came in and since he kind of became Mr. AEW, Kingston deserves one championship run.
And I think this is how you do it, because what's going to happen, this is my prediction. Don't hold me to it, but this is just a prediction. Blood and Guts, Eddie Kingston screws over the Combat Club, and that's how it starts the Moxley Eddie Kingston feud, and then you lead that into Punk Kingston. Got money.
I mean, I would be okay if that's where they're going with this. If that's where they're going, and if Kingston can get one major championship.
I don't see Kingston joins the JAS.
No, I don't see that, because his hatred for Jericho.
To screw them over so that Moxley understands, like, dude, the guy's willing to sell his soul to get a shot at your title.
I do want to make, I'm not going to go into Blood and Guts, but I do want to make one prediction. Mm-hmm. One prediction. Bray Wyatt debuts tomorrow night. He filed a new trademark.
He filed a new trademark for Wyatt
6, and not only did he file it, he filed it using AEW lawyers.
Yep. And you notice that it's funny that it's Wyatt 6.
Yeah.
When you think he's going into the Dark Order? And if you put him in the Dark Order,
something needs to happen to make the Dark Order relevant again.
You just had Anna Jay technically leave the Dark Order. You know what I mean? On her own. You know what I mean? On her own, under her own feet, if you will. So if you're going to bring Bray Wyatt as Wyatt 6, You know what I mean?
I mean, it would be a way to bring them back. Now
Yeah,
that
it will be.
because I was
Putting
already
him in that
upset
leadership
out of
position.
everybody from Dark Order, you got rid of Stu Grayson. I like Stu Grayson. I thought Stu Grayson was one of the most talented guys in the Dark Order.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. I think Bray Wyatt debuts tomorrow night.
That's a hell of a prediction. We get the tape rolling. Keep the tape rolling on this. Keep the tape rolling.
I think the thing is, it puts just saying it puts the Dark Order in a better position, and you want and Bray, yeah, but Bray Wyatt would become their leader. It'd be legit because he's friends with Brody Lee. You'd make
it makes the most sense. It makes the most sense.
I think you turn the Dark Order not from where it is right now, like it sounds like a business. You turn them into a family. You
bring in Rowan.
Bray Wyatt the beginning of his original gimmick, which is the Wyatt family gimmick, which is the cult leader. You progressively work the story over again.
If you could get him to stop with this stupid control your narrative bullshit.
Oh yeah.
Even though he's sounding more and more crazy like Ryback every day, I swear to God.
That's saying something because Ryback is crazy.
No, we're not going there. We're going to go ahead and call this on that note. Guys,
Ryback is crazy, man.
Thank y'all for joining us tonight. We will be hopefully back next week to talk about Blood and Guts. Make sure you join us then and check out everything as far as the Sports Report. Sports Report on Monday night, Sports Report After Dark, us on Tuesday nights. Then you got the winter meetings on Sundays with 7. Make sure you check all that out.
Don't forget about Double XP tomorrow.
Well, no, they're not. They're on their break right now, so they're not even on right now. So all you got is the Sports Report.
Sports and more sports.
Sports Report After Dark, Geek Gauntlet.
Oh, Geek Gauntlet. Don't forget Geek Gauntlet.
Geek Gauntlet.
Man, Will gonna smack me for getting to Geek Gauntlet.
Hey, Will. Are we gonna mention anything or talk about any bit of the good old multiverse there with good old Doctor Strange?
Oh yeah.
Oh, Will's all salty.
Me and Shaw already talking about it.
Will's all salty now that Iris West Allen is still in the show.
I hate her.
Hey, I
Gene knows how I feel.
I agree with him. I agree with him 100%. But like I said to him earlier, you can't have your cake and eat it too. I know you had cake and pizza already.
Yes.
Happy birthday. Yes. But you know what I mean?
The showrunners love her.
You can't get a perfect world.
The showrunners love her, and that's why she's still there.
And with CW, we know with CW shows, just saying this, I know this is fight night and whatnot, but with CW shows, it's all based around the execs. And if you are loved by the execs and you're loved by the people, you're going to stay on.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thank y'all again for joining us. Y'all have a great week, and we will see y'all next week.
Deuces.
Peace.